I am Habaroye.
And I am Tara Sarant. And thank you for joining NCC News.
On our NCC News recap, creativity has been a hallmark around the North Caribbean Conference during lockdown.
Also, we will meet some thought leaders who are providing inspiring devotionals.
A well-coordinated virtual engagement ministry ensures that active Adventists are accounted for in the NCC.
Details of these ministry events are available at northcaribbeanconference.org. Stay with us for all these stories.
Summer is in full swing in the Northern Caribbean. Temperatures are high and summer fruits are in abundance.
Speaking of summer fruits, on St. Croix, they inspired a devotional message by Mistress Annette Michael of the Central Seventh-day Adventist Church. She told NCC News that because she has to compete with the birds for her own fruit, she picked the mangoes and sourshops before they were ripened. Then, she placed them in a calabash in a dark and quiet room. Mistress Michael is a retired educator. She thought that the fruit ripening was a little object lesson for those of us who have been enduring it during the lockdown. She added that the fruits were hard to the touch before she placed them in, what she jokingly called a shelter in a place. After a few days and nights, the fruits would ripen with a pleasant odor. She then planned to enjoy soursop ice cream and delicious mangoes.
We can almost taste her inspiration.
Then, she got around to telling us what we could all learn from how fruits are ripened.
Just as fruits change from hard to succulent in lockdown, some families were learning to enjoy each other's company. People were reading and studying to learn more about God. And spiritual leaders remain connected with members virtually.
Don't forget, people have been recovering from the coronavirus. Such great lessons from nature. Many children around the conference also shared what their green thumbs are doing while they are sheltered in their homes since March. That virtual event was hosted by NCC Youth Director Dr. Vincent A. David and his team.
While we're on the subject of nature, Mrs. Jackie Berry and a group from the Phillipsburg SDA Church on St. Martin started a vegetable garden ministry. They put the pictures of each garden on social media. Now, they have a following of over 700 who regularly share messages about healthful living. Ms. Barry told NCC News, the ministry has brought a revival on the entire island and has caught the attention of government leaders who are now talking about locating land for agriculture and assisting local farmers. Many have expressed the thought that this is the first time that agriculture was put on the list of essential businesses after a disaster. I am glad for the eye-opener, but that's not our focus. Our focus is about healthful living and growing plants using what we have.
There have been so many amazing ministry stories during the lockdown. We can also agree that this pandemic brought about challenges, trauma, and even tragedy.
Certainly. We are one human family and feel each other's pain. This is a fitting time to pause and honor the memories of members and community friends we lost since we entered lockdown in March.
Many of you may recall that May arrived with no end in sight with restrictions on church attendance. People are longing for the good old days of a church fellowship. On St. Thomas, construction started on the damaged Philadelphia Seventh-day Adventist Church, and members were getting excited about rebuilding this summer. Pastor Jerry Lando, who leads the congregation, spoke to NCC News in May. He said, "We are rejoicing today because God has been good. What we are witnessing is not just my dream come true, but the effort and commitment of each member, and I am thankful to God for the leadership of those who rallied together to commence the building. We are replacing the front, which was damaged, with solid concrete rather than blocks. We are also putting a wall in the back of the church. The wall in the front will be about 40 feet at its highest. Sections of the roof will be replaced, electrical fittings, tiles will also be replaced, as well as new church furniture.
While the Adventist community was celebrating, attention turned to another landmark SDA Church, this time on St. Croix. Early on the first Tuesday in May, a crowd gathered across the street from the Peter's Rest SDA Church. They stood shocked and helpless as a fire destroyed over 35 years of church ministry. The leader of the congregation, Pastor Earl Daniel, was moved to tears by the heartbreaking situation and said that his congregation had received a double hit from the enemy. He spoke to the members who had gathered. This is one worldwide church. Whenever anything happens to any member anywhere, as long as it is made known, the World Church stands ready to assist. Admittedly, I was really broken, but it's all right. We believe that God is a God who hears and answers prayers. As far as we know, no life is lost, and we believe that while there is life, there is hope. I urge you to continue to have faith in the God of hope. Ask Him to take care of all of us, and we will see Peter's Rest Church restored to even a more magnificent edifice. Keep that in mind, and let us do all we can to rise to the occasion, and let us work together for a finished work.
Still, this incident did not dampen the energy of the SDA Church. Churches around the conference have been complying with government measures to contain the coronavirus. SDA pastors have responded with creative virtual engagements to physical distancing restrictions imposed on churches. In a heartwarming story, the Christians at SDA Temple on the St. Croix SDA Church declared that all members have been accounted for and are being ministered during the pandemic. The church's first elder told NCC News, "Many of the persons we serve are members who embrace Adventism in its infancy stage on the island of St. Croix. We are at our highest risk, and we need to ensure that we deliver membership care to all of our members. It is work because 4 weeks since the church have closed, we can account for 100% of our members with an active membership of 120 members. We have trained Sabbath school teachers on how to use conference call systems so that they can convey Sabbath school classes. We are testing it this week. Over the last week, we took the service from the Ministerial Association. We are training members on how to use email accounts so that they can receive private communication from the church. 3/4 of the members were reached through WhatsApp groups. The pastor's messages have been pre-recorded and sent to members' devices. The tech-savvy members ensure that the seniors' devices access YouTube and Facebook for all Sabbath services. Pastor Earl Daniel is continuing to visit his members and reach out to them despite this pandemic.
Pastors and members have been working to keep church alive through a blend of traditional and contemporary methods. They have been using radio evangelism, dynamic telephone town halls, pre-recorded and live social media streams, as well as parking lot church meetings.
Also, churches and the conference surveyed the immediate needs of families. This resulted in a wide-scale humanitarian response across the North Caribbean Conference. The SDA Church on St. Martin started a ministry of compassion in April. Pastor Vashni Kuvale, who leads the Phillipsburg SDA Church, spoke to NCC News. He said, because the country has been on lockdown and curfew, the government is still taking care of its seniors and challenged members of the community. Residents were told that the Ministry of Social Services assigned the responsibility to distribute food to those who are considered most vulnerable. In order to support them, the church offered to make meals for these volunteers.
In May, churches on Tortola delivered relief packages to the community. Pastor Sylvester Williams, who leads the Road Town and Sweet Redemptive SDA congregations, told NCC News, "I could see the tears of joy in the eyes of the members when we delivered baskets of love because they feel loved by the church. I could see that many were struggling and were so thankful for the goods." Pastor Ray Edwards, who also serves the congregations, added, This initiative has shown the closeness that the church wants to keep with its members, even when churches remain closed and small groups aren't able to meet. The plan is to continue assisting those families in need as best we can. On St. Croix, more than a dozen volunteers from the Central and Hope SDA churches customized care packages for distribution. The packages included healthy meal ingredients, toiletries, housekeeping supplies, and stress relief treats. Pastor Thomas Rose, who leads the congregations, thanked the team members for their leadership and dedication in these trying times. In addition, the Virgin Islands chapter of VOAD appealed to the community for face masks on behalf of some of the more vulnerable sectors of the population. A response from the Northern Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists was swift, and on May 14, 2020, the NCC leaders presented 125 masks on St. Croix to a center who houses independent living residents.
The Agape, Philadelphia, and Shiloh congregations on St. Thomas focus on the need of frontline workers and the health of families. Pastor Danny Phillip led the Agape Seventh-day Adventist Church, and the church's community service department provided nutritious meals for the elderly, disabled, and families with young children. A tally of lives were touched and revealed that the church delivered 157 meals, 27 pieces of literature, and almost $50 worth of telephone assistance to families to connect with loved ones. Tasked with determining how effectively this respond to the immediate needs were, the Philadelphia SDA Church Superintendent, Sister Henry, and her team focused on the health of families. They filled almost 100 bags with essential items such as hand sanitizers, antibacterial soap bars, and face masks, both handmade and store-bought. They distributed these items to families and other vulnerable residents. The book, Hope in Crisis by Mark Finley, was also included in each bag. Led by Sister Veronica Carty at the Shiloh Seventh-day Adventist Church, mobilized a team of ladies to embark on the community outreach on the Church in Reach ministry. The team objective was to provide healthy vegetarian meals to individuals in the Anna's Retreat neighborhood on St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. Pastor James led the Shiloh SDA Church, and on St. John, Pastor Danny Phillip and the SDA Church stepped up to a response in the homeless communities.
During the pandemic, individuals created content to help others heal and stay connected. The NCC Youth Director, Dr. Vincent A. David, shared his writing with NCC News. His caption was, "Home Sweet Home, Bittersweet Paradox." Thanks to Dr. David for the emotional wellness inventory.
Mistress Annette Michael, she encouraged families to start dialogue on distant learning in her article, Quarantine or Recess? A Coronavirus and Homeschool. Her feature on Healing in His Wings, a devotional thought that leaves us with hope as we come to today's ending segment.
On behalf of the team, thanks for joining this segment of NCC News.